If you're building APIs with Python, I bet you've heard the buzz around FastAPI. It's this modern framework that promises insane speed and a developer experience that's frankly amazing. So what's the big deal? What actually makes it so special? Well, over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly why it's become the go-to choice for so many developers.
So you're starting a new project. And this is the core question, right? You need something that's fast, something that's reliable, and you want a framework that just gets out of your way. Picking the right tool from the start is absolutely critical. And as we're about to see, FastAPI has a very, very compelling answer.
You know, FastAPI makes some pretty huge promises, but here's the thing, it really delivers. I mean, it's designed to slash your coding time. It's built for crazy high performance right out of the box thanks to modern async Python. But the real magic, the part that will totally change how you work, is the automatic data validation that just crushes bugs and interactive documentation that honestly feels like a superpower. Let's dive in.
Okay, first things first, let's talk setup. One of FastAPI's biggest selling points is just how ridiculously fast you can get a server up and running. We are talking minutes, going from an empty folder to a live hello world with none of that confusing boilerplate code. It really just boils down to these 3 simple steps. You install FastAPI and a super fast server called Unicorn to run your app. You write like 5 lines of code. Then you run 1 command to fire it all up. Oh, and pay close attention to that -reload flag. Trust me, that's your new best friend. It automatically restarts the server every single time you save your file. And this is it. This is literally all the code you need. You import FastAPI, you create an app, and then you use this thing called a decorator. Think of that @app.get/line like a little sticky note you're putting on the function below it. It's just telling FastAPI, hey, anytime a browser sends a GET request to the main URL, I want you to run this function, and that function just returns some JSON. That's it. You're done.
All right, Hello World is a great start, but real APIs need to, do stuff. And that's where routes come in. Just think of routes as the different addresses your API can respond to. So for a to-do list app, you need one route to add an item, another one to get a specific item, and maybe another one to list all of them.
So how do we pass information along with these routes? Well, there are 2 main ways. First up is a path parameter. This is where the data is actually part of the URL's structure, like /items/5 to get item number 5. The second way is a query parameter. This comes after a question mark, and it's used for optional things, like filtering or sorting. Think /items.limit = 10. Here's what a path parameter looks like in the code. See those curly braces around item ID in the decorator? That's a placeholder. FastAPI just knows that whatever number is in that part of the URL should be passed to our function. And here's the real magic. Because we used a Python type hint and said item ID should be an int, FastAPI automatically checks that it's a number and converts it for us, for free. Okay, but what happens if a user asks for an item that just isn't there, like /items/99? Sending back some generic server error is, well, it's totally useless. You've got to give clear, helpful feedback. FastAPI makes it incredibly simple to raise standard HTTP exceptions. If the item's not found, you just raise a 404 not found error. This is an absolute lifesaver for anyone who's actually using your API. So far, we've only dealt with simple things like IDs. But modern APIs need to handle complex JSON objects coming from the client. And this brings us to FastAPI's real secret weapon, a library called Pydantic, which makes handling complex data unbelievably simple and smart.
And that's the key question, isn't it? How do you handle a request where the client is sending a whole bunch of data? Like when you're creating a new to-do item. You have to make sure it has the right fields, the right types. I mean, it can get messy and fast.
And this is the beautifully simple solution. Instead of messing around with JSON manually, you define a Pydantic model. It's just a Python class that acts like a blueprint for your data. Right here, we're saying every item must have a text field that's a string, and it can have an isDone field that's a Boolean, which will just be false if it's not provided.
And here is the massive payoff. You just tell your endpoint to expect an item object, and FastAPI does all the heavy lifting. It parses the incoming JSON, it validates it against your model, and if anything is wrong, a missing field, the wrong data type, it automatically sends back a super detailed, helpful error message to the client. You do nothing. It's incredible.
All right, now for what is, hands down, the most beloved feature of FastAPI. This is the one that makes developers' jaws drop the first time they see it. The automatic, interactive documentation.
I'm serious. You don't have to write one extra line of code for this.
You don't install any other tools. You don't mess with any configuration files. It just works.
Once your server is up and running, all you do is go to your web browser and add /docs to the end of your local URL. That's it. That's all you have to do.
And what you get is this complete interactive web page that documents your entire API. It shows every single endpoint, what data it needs, the exact JSON structure it expects, all of it generated automatically from your code. And the best part? You can click Try it out, fill in the fields, and run requests to test your API live, right there in the browser.
So with all these amazing features, where does FastAPI actually fit into the Python universe? To really get it, we need to compare it to the two other titans of Python web development, Flask and Django.
This table really sums it up perfectly. Django is the batteries-included heavyweight. It's for huge, complex apps where you want everything from an admin panel to a database layer right out of the box. Flask is the minimalist. It's super flexible, but you have to piece everything together yourself. And FastAPI, it hits that perfect sweet spot for modern APIs. It's lightweight, but uses modern Python features like type hints and async to give you incredible performance and an amazing developer experience from the get-go.
So when you put it all together, the raw performance, the modern data validation that saves you from countless bugs, and those game-changing automatic docs, it's pretty clear why FastAPI has taken off. It's a framework built to make our lives as developers easier and our applications better. So the only real question left is it time to build your next API with FastAPI?